everyone. Once again, welcome to Candid Conversations. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Maxie Milton. This month we're observing Black History Month with a history maker in the state of Mississippi. We're so honored to have in the studio today Harvey Johnson Jr., the very first African American mayor in the city of Jackson. We've had a part two. This is part two of this interview. Now, in part one, we talked about his upbringing, we talked about his early career, and now we're talking about his career into the political area once he became mayor of the city of Jackson. Mayor Johnson, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So, and we talked earlier about your entrance into the political arena wasn't successful. First time you didn't succeed. You tried, and then you tried again.
Yes.
And then your very first political office is becoming the very first mayor of Jackson. No one had done it. What inside you made you think you could, and made you think you could even after not being successful in those first couple of attempts?
Well, I thought I could because I had the training, I had the background, I had prepared myself, I had the confidence. I literally sat on the knees of black mayors across the state when I was working for the nonprofit. You know, mayors like Mayor Cawthon in Chula and Lucas and Mound Bayou and Gray and Shelby and Leggett and and Gunnison, who was a female mayor and who was from Vicksburg, by the way. That gave me, I think, the on-the-job type training that you need to understand government. And not only that I studied government with a master's in political science, but I was able to get on the ground and touch government in these smaller communities, and that gave me the confidence that I could, and I had the skills, and I could do the job. And as I said, I prepared myself to do the job. So, having failed the first time and the second time did not deter me. It really allowed me to learn from those failures and to be successful the third time around. By the way, I was defeated in 2005, but I ran again in 2009 and won. So I've served 3 terms as mayor of the city of Jackson. So I believe that the job of mayor is something that's an opportunity to serve people, to make things better, to make sure that services are provided to folk who perhaps hadn't had that level of services before. And that was a driving force for me to just continue to pursue office and do the best I can while I was in office.
And I was looking to, for example, I'm sure there are many who feel like they could serve as mayor of the state of Mississippi who are African American, but no one has ever done it. And so I was kind of asking where did the confidence, or how did you think you could do it in terms of getting the political votes to get it done? But you answered it because you studied from the failures you learned, and it gave you strategy to come back again stronger and ultimately be victorious.
Oh, yes. And it's nothing like retail politics. I mean, knocking on doors, shaking hands, going to churches, going to places where folk were gathering, galvanizing the black vote. And some people thought that may be a bad approach. But the fact of the matter is that being the first African American mayor, being elected to that position, I could not have done it without the black community. And so it just made sense to me to make sure that they knew me, the people in the black community knew me, knew my skills, knew who I was. And they propelled me to that position. Without them, I would not have been the first black mayor of the city of Jackson.
And so when you won the election, I would like to know, when the numbers came back and you all knew you had cinched the office, at that moment, did it come upon you, the place in history that you were taking, and what were your thoughts?
No, it didn't. The whole thing about my place in history didn't come to mind. What came to mind is what do I do next? How do I assemble the team that I need to assemble? How do I make sure that I use the resources that are available to me to do the job that I need to do? that was my thinking. Of course, there was a lot of celebration that night, but after that, we had to get down to business and start afresh. Because one of the things that I felt as the first black mayor of the city of Jackson, I was not going to give the opportunity to make a lot of mistakes. I had to do it right the first time, and so that was key in my mind, and it worked out. We were able to assemble a team to get people into positions that didn't have the opportunity, qualified people to get in positions that didn't have an opportunity before. You're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We didn't know that term of art during that time, but it's certainly something that we practice because it was very important to me to give opportunity to those people who hadn't had the opportunity before.
And let's talk about some of your accomplishments. I remember talking to my uncle once during your time. He said, everywhere I go, the street is dug up. And I said, well, those are your tax dollars at work.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were about not just the quote-unquote glamorous or sexy stuff. You wanted to get the pipes done, and you wanted to get the infrastructure taken care of. You wanted to make sure that we were fiscally sound.
Yeah.
Those are not things that are, necessarily, attention getters, if you will, but they are necessary. So let's just talk about some of your accomplishments during your term, some of the things that you're proud to have accomplished.
Well, I think those physical things are important. Pipes are under the ground, so people don't pay attention to them until they don't work anymore. And we did make a concerted effort to repair and improve and rehabilitate the water and sewer system. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk now about, it's been years of neglect. And when I hear that, I'm really confounded, because we spent about $250 million during the time I was in office repairing water and sewer lines alone. And so I'm satisfied that we used the resources that we had, because you also got to remember that the city of Jackson is probably has a higher poverty rate than the state of Mississippi, and most people don't know that. So we have a lot of people who are impoverished living in the city, and there's only so much that you can get in terms of resources to carry out these projects. But we were able to do that. So the physical things, yes, we paved streets, we put in water and sewer lines. The convention center, that initiative started in my administration. The King Edward Hotel, the train station, even Ferry Street, although it wasn't completed, we started putting infrastructure there, brick streets and lighting and that kind of thing. But if I had to point to my accomplishments, I would point to things that people would not readily see. And one would be just, carrying out duties of the mayor in such a way that I would not embarrass the people who got me in office. That was important to me, because, being the first African American mayor, you don't want to have any kind of negative publicity in terms of your character, in terms of your behavior, anything that would embarrass your voters. I remember, and I think I've told you this story before, when I was running in 93, 97, I was passing out push cards at a precinct, and this older woman, I approached her with a push card, and she said, "Baby, you can keep that card. I may not see me a black president, but I'm going to see me a black mayor." So it was for that woman that I behaved like I behaved in making sure that my character and my behavior was intact. I consider that a success to some extent. I consider just making government more open, more available to people who had not been available to before. Department heads, having black department heads, female department heads, people who actually was making government go, but did not have the opportunity to do that before I got into office. Even our Equal Business Opportunity Program, where we provided opportunities for minority contractors, women-owned businesses, to get and do business with the city of Jackson. I consider that an accomplishment. During Black History Month, I consider an accomplishment a brochure that we started back in 2001 that depicts civil rights sites throughout the city of Jackson. It's called the City of Jackson Civil Rights Driving Tour. It's a brochure. And that brochure, we started with 55 sites. Those sites have been expanded as future mayors came into office. I'm very proud of that because my planning department first came to me with the idea of doing sites for the Civil War. And I rejected that, and I suggested that we not do sites for the Civil War, but for the Civil Rights Movement, and that stuck, and we were able to produce that brochure. The public arts program that you see with painted traffic boxes throughout the city of Jackson, and people take that for granted. But I wanted to initiate that because people are using those boxes to plaster. Political political bumper stickers on for graffiti. But if you drive through the city of Jackson now downtown, you don't see graffiti. You see artwork, and on down Highway 80, artwork. So those are the kinds of things that I'm proud of that I can point to that people may take for granted, but I think that make our city better.
And post office, you have a Harvard mentorship. I remember one of your favorite poems being The Bridge Builder, which was about a man who was going forth building a bridge for those to come behind him.
Exactly.
And so you work with mentorship now, and you've actually been named the Mentor of the Year by 100 Black Men of America.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, I've been mentoring here in the city of Jackson for about 30 years. Middle school students. Started at Rowan, went over to Brinkley. Now I'm at Lanier Junior High. And basically what we're trying to do at 100 Black Men of Jackson, which is a chapter of the national office, is to create an opportunity to direct and guide the lives of young black boys. This recognition that I got nationally was I had to apply and compete for it, and it was based on the work that I've been doing here in the city of Jackson for all of those years. Even when I was mayor, I mentored. I would set aside time at that time, Wednesday afternoon, to go to Rohan or to go to Brinkley, wherever it was at the time, to mentor and to make sure that these young men saw someone who looked like them, who had an opportunity to move ahead in life and took that opportunity, just like they have the opportunity, they need to take it as well.
Is there anything you haven't done that you still want to do?
Yeah, write a book. I'd love to do that. I keep putting that off. I've started 3 paragraphs, but that's not enough. Truman Capote had a writing style. He said he would write the last chapter first, because then you would know where you're going. And so I may just do that.
And I'm sure a lot of people would eagerly await to read that book.
Yeah.
Mayor Johnson, thank you so much for spending some time here with us at Candid Conversations. Congratulations on being named National Mentor of the Year. It's so important that we pour into our young people. If you want to know more about Mayor Johnson's story, you can pick up a Mississippi Link. He is featured as one of 5 trailblazing African-American mayors. That's this week's Mississippi Link. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, I'll have some closing thoughts. Stay tuned.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Well, welcome back. So we are celebrating Black History Month, and it's in my heart to do something. It's out of my comfort zone, but I always say the blessings are outside your comfort zone, and it's just on my heart to do this for our audience. As African Americans have gone through this country and have strived many times, those are our grandparents, our great-grandparents, those who have gone before us, like Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, John Lewis, Last week we talked to Chaplain Colonel Walter Beeman from the United States Air Force, who broke barriers there and just overcome many challenges. And often when we were working to overcome challenges, we had a song in our heart that helped propel us forward. And as we move forward, we have a responsibility to continue to pass the baton, because of course, we have made strides, as you know, Mayor Johnson and subsequent mayors who have been elected, who have African American descent, have shown us we've made strides. We see them all around us, but there's still work to be done, and it's incumbent upon us to pass the baton, to keep marching forward until victory is won. And with that in mind, I want to sing this song for you in closing. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicings rise high as the glistening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea, and sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the faith that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on. Let us march on. Let us march on like our parents and grandparents did. Let us march on like Martin and Coretta did. Let us march on like dear John Lewis did. Let us march on like Harvey Johnson Jr. did. Let us march on, on, till victory is won. Let us march on.
Very good, very good.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Candid Conversations. Goodbye, everyone.